All right, everybody, I am finally getting to episode 9 of House of the Dragon. My previous copy would not work no matter what I tried. It wouldn't be fresh in the first place, but this is definitely not going to be fresh. Episode 9, House of the Dragon, beginning of the finale. We're talking the Green Council and what they're going to do once King Viserys dies. Let's go.
If you like this video, please click the like button. If you want more content, click subscribe. If you click that little bell and click all, then you'll get more content notifications.
Had all kinds of questions about the whole thing with her maid in waiting or whatever last time I had recorded the episode, but I kind of figured that stuff out. So she does this, getting the signal out to everybody, and maybe that might give them some kind of indication that she needs to be locked up. But I think also initially they were trying to lock up all the servants. I don't think it was until Larys gave them information that they realized that she was actually a problem.
We grieve for Viserys the Peaceful.
And I think that is an apt name for him.
Our friend.
Because while he may not have been the greatest king for that realm,
he has left us a gift.
That is what I would call him.
Final wish that his son, Aegon, should succeed him as Lord of the Seven Kingdoms.
While I think she's stretching to come to that conclusion based on her last conversation with him, I get where that's coming from. And just look at the reactions she has as she's realizing that this stuff was already pre-planned.
They proceed now with the full assurance of his blessing on our long-laid plans.
Yes, there is much to be done, as we've previously discussed. Now, let us replace them. Lord Lannister.
The treasury is well in hand. The gold will be divided for safekeeping.
Let ravens be sent to our allies, Riverrun and Highgarden.
Am I to understand that members of the small council have been planning secretly to install my son without me?
My queen.
And then he speaks up also. I mean, there's so many things that happen in this episode. It's really, really jacked up that he gets killed like he does, but like that's what they have to do to kind of keep things from getting out right away, not kill him. That is more like Sir Criston Cole's inability to keep control of his temper once he lets it go. But a lot of the other stuff that they did was just to frickin' nip everything in the bud and keep anybody from getting out. I was very, very surprised, though, they let the commander of the Kingsguard out.
Place the king's chosen heir with an impostor.
His firstborn son is...
Hundreds of lords and landed knights swore fealty to the princess.
The king changed his mind.
I am 76 years old. I have known Viserys longer than any who sit at this table. And I will not believe that he said this on his deathbed, alone with only the boy's mother as a witness. This is seizure!
And at least he had the nerve to freaking, like, just come out. He knew him enough, and he had the nerve enough to freaking come out and say it.
Let us have Lord Peaceberry.
And this part here, this is the part here, though, where they don't even let him take the guy out. That's what you gotta do. Hide all this stuff until you figure out who's on your side and who's not.
She'll never bend the knee. Nor will Daemon, which you know.
Mm-hmm.
To secure
Look at his face as he's like
to consider. The king wouldn't wish
figuring this shit out and deciding what to do.
Of his daughter. He loved her. I will not have you deny this.
Exactly.
One more word, and I'll have you removed from this chamber and sent to the wall.
And this was the right thing to do. I am glad they let him out, but I am surprised that they did.
I recognize no authority but the king's. And until there is one, I have no place here.
I feel so bad for Helena. It's gotta be so hard for her, because she can see certain things. She knows certain things are gonna happen.
There is a beast beneath the boards.
But I wonder if that comment, pretty sure it has to do with the end of this episode, but there's some indication that it might actually be about something that's to come. Don't know for sure, but I definitely feel bad for her. Sir Eric and Sir Alec I have a hard time keeping up with and figuring out who's who, but it's important the stuff that Sir Eric shows him, this realization he can't go along with this guy being king after his brother has shown him all these things. It's kind of interesting. I do wonder, though, if Laris already knew that she was a problem.
Come with you.
That would not be my desire, Aemond.
So Eric isn't the only one who knows Aegon's doings.
His hair looks like silk.
Time to get it wet. Every woman is an image of the mother, to be spoken of with reverence.
Not frequent the street of silk. His tastes are known to be less discriminating.
Less discriminating.
I wish you luck,
I
sir.
wish you luck.
And my best to your friend.
Mm-hmm.
How you've grown.
Keeps its sworn oath to the princess.
Very well.
And as far as I see it, he's just doing what he can to keep himself alive. It's just too bad he doesn't stay alive very much longer. Thanks to that guy.
The nails and file the teeth makes them more formidable. You see now what he is. You've not seen everything. Aegon, one of many, I'd wager.
Those kids are the kids that Lady Maceris is going to be talking about later. If I recall correctly, this is the guy that when Rhaenyra had one of her kids and she was going up the stairs, he asked, you know, if there's anything that he can do for her, and she said, the day may yet come. This is the day.
Treat with the servants of the keep. Exalted though they may be, should trust this to the hand of the king only.
From the gate. A warning for the princess, I'd wager. Reason those hours could not in the end benefit you.
Because Laris has no true loyalty. I do wonder sometimes how much he knows about the passages around the castle and how he gets around without being spotted.
It's a dying wish. Believe it or no, it is of no consequence.
At least her son calls her out on it later. He like knew right off. This isn't what happened. Mm-hmm. She should have.
I little thought to hear those words from you. The Iron Throne was yours by blood and by temperament.
Father, your husband, your son. You desire not to be free, but to make a window in the wall of your prison.
Mysterious white worm, I take it.
He acts like he doesn't know her. He's been working with her for years. Nonsense.
To the savage use of children in Fleabottom. They're forced to fight and worse. You gold cloaks take the bribes given them to look away.
Mm-hmm.
An obscenity.
Look into it. You have my
Sure you will. Right. The last time I watched this, I got to this part and realized that it had skipped a whole section because I never saw any of the stuff with the children in the fighting pits. It was the point at which Aemon and Kristen Cole went to that madam asking her if they had seen him. It had cut off. Went all the way to the thing that we had just seen.
To make you king.
And that's where he's like, no, can't keep watching this stuff.
I'm not suited. You get no argument from me. Go, or find a ship and sail away, never to be found.
You would have liked that, but
The Queen awaits.
And he probably would have been much more suited to the position.
Again.
And yet you treat it as one.
He's so fucking irritating.
Will never won. I see that now. Rather, I've been a piece that you moved about the board.
If that is true, then I made you Queen of the Seven Kingdoms.
And what a fucking kind of pressure to put on your fucking kid's shoulder.
Your squeamishness.
Reluctance to murder is not a weakness.
Thank you.
I like how they're gone.
Thing you should know.
Yeah, as you play both sides of the same side, sort of. I hadn't realized, but it was a episode quite a while ago that she had actually taken her shoes off when she started talking to him. So she may have already been like doing this, feeding his kink. People had said also that it looked like her chest was going up and down. It did look like she was kind of like heavily breathing. So some people had suggested that maybe she was getting something out of this too. Don't know. Here it comes. Yay!
With me, Princess. I cannot let this treachery stand.
It's too bad. And when I saw this part, I thought it was weird that she didn't know her way around, because I just assumed that she grew up in the castle and maybe she would know the stuff behind the wall. But even if she did grow up in the castle, there's no guarantee she would have known that stuff. It was interesting how there was like almost nobody around, everybody was just moving their own way, and now all of a sudden that quickly everybody's going that direction. But it reminds me of when Arya ends up getting pushed into the center of town only to see her own father beheaded in Game of Thrones.
The decency to look grateful.
Why should he be grateful? He never wanted this.
We came.
And my father never wanted this.
That's not true.
See? He called her out on it.
He could have, but he never did.
Breath, he whispered to me that you should take his place on the throne.
No, because there's many Prince Aegons. It's a common name in that realm, and you know it. It's a common name in that family.
You love me.
When he first said that, I was like, of course she does. But then it was like just the last episode, she said something to the effect of, "You're no son of mine." So I could see why he might be questioning that. And there it is, going right to where her dragon is. The one thing she wanted was to be able to get her dragon out of there. Do it in front of the whole kingdom. Give it an air of legitimacy, even though it's not legitimate. He looks so mad. And there's her out. A lot of people were really pissed off that Rhaenys killed so many people. What should she have done? She wanted to get her dragon out of there. I think she also wanted to make a statement. There it is. And she had to pull the dragon out in order to get it out of there. I was like, set them on fire, set them on fire. Book, she is not there. She is not supposed to be there. Really worried that they were going to jump ahead on some things. And this, like, why in the hell would you try to close the doors and lock your people in on that? Do they honestly believe they're going to keep the dragon in there? As the aunt of the person that was supposed to be queen, he is not in a position to be taking sides. As much as I wanted her to the first time around, she is not in that position, even if she wanted to. So that was season 1, episode 9. The last episode 10 is coming. Alright, this is the last episode of House of the Dragon, at least for right now, until they have another season. 2024, I'm still hearing. the grand finale of House of the Dragon rewatch right here, right now. Let's do this.
Sea Snake is going to die, isn't he?
Not yet.
Luke. It can't be Lord of the Tides. Grandsire was the greatest sailor who ever lived. I get green sick before the ship even leaves the harbour. I'll just ruin everything. I don't want Driftmark. It should have passed on to Sir Vaymond.
We don't choose our destiny,
You
Luke. It chooses us.
probably should have said that a while ago.
Choose whether you be his heir.
In time, I came to understand I had to earn my inheritance.
I'm not like you.
Sweet boy.
Not
You're
so.
not.
Perfect.
Definitely not that. You're definitely not like her, though, in the ways that I think a lot of people think of her. You are tame and calm and thoughtful.
We hope for news of Lord Corliss's recovery.
Viserys is dead. Your father possessed a kind heart. Aegon has been crowned as his successor.
Too much stress. Too early in the pregnancy.
How did Viserys die?
I could not say.
I mean, that's not necessarily. There could be other things going on, but
I refused her.
And yet you are alive.
because I broke out of there on my dragon.
The High Septon crowned Aegon in the Dragon Pit. I witnessed it myself just before I fled on Meleys. War is like to be fought over this treachery, to be sure.
But it ain't mine.
But that war is not mine to begin. I only rushed this warning to you out of loyalty to my husband and to my house.
I imagine that it could actually be a factor in her thinking, in anybody's thinking in that kind of situation. If she would have done that, it would have definitely been a declaration of war, would have been considered that by everyone. And then you have to deal with, why did you think that it was up to you to make the decision to declare war when you are not in charge as a aunt of the person that is supposed to be taking over? Would not make that kind of decision. Yeah, we're all like, come on, just freaking burn them all, burn them all. We don't know. There may have been lots of other people that would have been like, no, what you did was wrong. It doesn't prove anything. We're still not going to consider the queen the queen. You're still going to have half the rulers that don't believe that a female should be on the throne. And then you don't really know how the people are going to feel. And then you have the people that do think that the queen should be the queen. And she's bleeding.
Baby's coming.
So she's having contractions, gone into labor way too early.
The term is far from complete. This should not be happening.
It is fucking happening.
He didn't say it's not happening. He said it should not be happening. If they didn't have theories at the time for stopping a labor when you're in the midst of labor, then what are you going to do about it?
You might go easier on him, so he can learn.
Not time to go easy. It's not time to be a total ass, but it's not time to go easy because
Mother?
shit's gonna hit the fan.
Aegon has been crowned king.
What is to be done about it?
Nothing yet.
And where is Daemon?
I don't know. Gone to madness. Whatever claim remains to me, you are now its heir. Naught is to be done but by my command.
Whatever claim remains to me, so she is not even declaring herself queen yet. She hasn't said treason. I would have been like, this is treason, like right off the bat.
That much is unclear.
Although I don't remember exactly what she said when Rhaenys told her.
And Bar-Aemon. Do you want to speak to the Maester, my prince?
Like, what good would that do? Last time I had to deal with this,
I'll fly to the Rivers
ended
myself
up with
and
a
confirm Lord
dead
Corlys.
wife.
My mother has decreed no action be taken while she's abed. It's good you're here, young prince. You're needed to patrol the skies on Virmax.
Did you hear what I said?
I'm glad he stood his ground. See, really, I don't think he needed that. He's trying to show something to the kid, but asking them first to swear their fealty, and then if they don't, bringing out the dragon. Or let them swear their fealty, and then after they do, bring out the dragon. But don't make it like, okay, I'm going to bring out the dragon and then you swear your fealty, because then it's just, it's based solely on fear.
Let us help you.
I mean, I'm thinking she probably feels that there's not much you can do to help. I mean, they might be able to help guide the baby out, but... People were saying, oh, you know, there's all this stuff about there being scales and wings and all this other stuff, because every single time there's a situation like this in any of the Game of Thrones books, they describe the deceased child or the soon-to-be deceased child as having these dragon-like features. And they did the same thing with this one. Really, I think it's more a lack of understanding and trying to give it characteristics that they see from other things that they do know. A dragon is scary. A dragon is not like them. So when these babies are born way too soon and they have characteristics that they don't understand, I think they kind of grasp on to anything that they see that might remotely look like that. So they're like, oh, scales and wings and all this stuff. And there might be developmental features in those premature babies they think of as that way. People were like, oh no, they showed scales. What I see on there does not look anything like scales to me. What they showed of the baby's face, the head, the feet, the genitals, like none of those looked like scales. They did not look like a deformed baby. This looks like there's little spots you might be able to say, oh, maybe you could think that that looks a little bit like scales, but that doesn't look like scales to me. It doesn't even look that small for being that preterm. I had to look at that because there were people that were legitimately arguing this, and I'm like, I'll have to take a look. And so I'm taking a look, and I'm not seeing it. See, even there, it looked like the head wasn't fully formed. No scales or wings or tail. Oh, there's Joffrey! We didn't see him before. And here he comes to save the day.
With all my strength, and give my blood for hers, I shall take no wife, hold no lands, father no children. I shall guard her secrets, obey her commands, ride at her side and defend her name and honor.
But let's see, we got, we know Rhaenys doesn't, bend a knee yet. 1, 2, possibly 26. There's some people on the bottom that you can't really see, but we're going to say 26 right there, and then whoever's over off to the side. It's not a lot. 26 isn't a lot of people. 30 isn't a lot of people. But right now, you get what you get. And this was so cool. When they lit this up, and I didn't realize that wasn't even a thing. So 37 or 38 people. Possibly 39. I can't tell.
Thank you, Rhaena.
She had to give it a second thought.
Lord Boros Baratheon will need to be reminded of his father's promises.
course. This is the problem.
Cooler sails for Dragonstone.
To declare for his queen.
The
We
Valarian
don't
fleet
know
is in
that
my
yet.
husband's yoke.
Who are the
We have no
people that
friends
would
among the
likely
Lannisters.
be neutral or
Thailand
want to be
served the hand too
neutral
long to turn
that
against
you
him.
need to
And Otto Hightower needs
try
the
to
Lannister
sway?
fleet. The Riverlands are essential, Your Grace.
Pray forgive my bluntness, Your Grace, but talk of men is moot. That
It's
has
not
not been
moot.
seen in this world since
Dragons
the
or
days
not,
of
you
old
still need
Valyria.
people.
The Greens have dragons.
They have
as
3
well.
adults, by my count. We have Cyrax, Caraxes, and Melis. Your sons have
She's
Baelen's
like,
Moonlights,
I have not.
wild dragons, all of whom nest here.
And who is to ride them?
Dragonstone has 13 to their 4.
Oh, is this
Together,
where the
Tomahawk,
hand is
large
there?
enough to
Ship has been sighted offshore.
Yep.
A lone galleon flying a banner of a 3-headed green dragon.
Gotta have a little talk with Damon. I'm the queen. I'm supposed to be ruling, not you.
To deliver her message only to Princess Rhaenyra.
Because if it were my decision, I would have already killed all of you. You know, that's what would have been the reality. They would have just ordered them all dead. Which is why Alicent stepped in. Not saying she's dumb. She's not at all. I'm just saying her kid is not the rightful heir. That's all. Struggle! That is how you make an entrance. Yeah, if you have a dragon. You know, I know we don't, but...
Princess Rhaenyra.
I'm Queen Rhaenyra now. And you all are traitors to the realm.
Finally!
King Aegon Targaryen,
See?
second of his name.
Treason.
I would rather feed my sons to the dragons than have them carry shields and cups. For your drunken usurper cunt of a king.
Aegon Targaryen sits the Iron Throne.
But really, the last guy was kind of a puppet king, and this guy's a puppet king. Because who's actually ruling the kingdom? Otto Hightower and his daughter. Same as before.
You are no more hand than Aegon is king. Fucking traitor.
No blood.
And their days studying their lessons.
And his mama's farm.
No.
Now you guys can turn around and try to go through the dragon. Well, it was a nice idea.
But dragons can kill dragons, and have.
Exactly.
When dragons flew to war, everything burned. I do not wish to rule over a kingdom of ash and bone. End the realm, not cast it headlong into war.
Well, the enemy have declared war. What are you going to do about it?
And I know what's coming. I have very strong feelings about it. But I also know what kind of place this is. And how the people are. And Daemon is by no means a tame kind of person. Strangling a person is very deadly abuse, and it is done strictly to show that you could kill them.
You know, my oath reaches beyond our personal ambition. A song of ice and fire.
Except he doesn't know. Daddy maybe should have better explained to her who does and doesn't know this stuff. It's really freaking dangerous. Even if you think you're not being that constrictive, can cut the airway off. After a certain amount of time, it can kill you. Not having air going to your brain can kill you. And even if it doesn't kill you, cutting air off to the brain can cause brain damage. It can cause strokes later. It can cause all kinds of problems. Just don't do that, people. Don't fucking do it. And if your boyfriend or spouse or somebody else that claims to care about you does that shit to you, don't fucking put up with it.
I lost everything.
We lost Corlys. We.
Yep. You left her alone to deal with her grief all by herself, without a war to keep her occupied.
I understand we have a new king.
A stranger casts a long shadow over this family. In his haste to bury you and claim your seat, he stood before the king and denounced Laenor's sons as illegitimate.
He's like, my brother's always been so hot-headed and stupid.
Heedless ambition has always been a Valarian weakness. That girl destroys everything she touches.
That girl is holding the realm. Every man standing round the painted table urges her to plunge the realm into war. Rhaenyra is the only one who's demonstrated restraint.
Where is Daemon?
There were other concerns which demanded the prince's attention.
Probably needed to get him the hell out of that room so he wasn't trying to freaking strangle her again. And the word is strangle. Choking is when something obstructs your airway, not when your airway is constricted.
Baratheons share blood with my house, but all of them swore oaths to me.
As did House Hightower, if I remember.
As did you, Lord Corlys.
Was one of justice and honor. Our houses are bound by common blood and common cause. This Hightower treason cannot stand. You have the full support of our fleet.
You mean more people like him speaking for her to all these other lords that they're not sure about?
Care to fully garrison the territory this time? A total blockade of the shipping lanes, narrow sea, is ours. If we further seal the gullet, we can cut off all seaborne travel and trade to King's Landing.
We can fly faster than ravens, and then more convincing. Send us.
Like thinking, oh, well, we could have sent him to the Starks. They have this past history and all of that. But really, it's all because of hindsight. She wouldn't have had a way of knowing that that was going to be a problem. She probably was thinking that this is the safest place to send him. It's closer. This person should be a friend, just needs some convincing. Maybe she should have been trying to think who's going to already have a dragon over there. Maybe that was something she should have considered. But outside of that, hindsight's 2020, you don't know. And in that kind of place, they're not going to think of a teenage boy as being too young to do that. The mother may, but most of the people aren't going to. Only way you're going to keep him held back is if mom throws a big enough stink, and Rhaenyra's not that kind of person, really.
Part in any fighting. Swear it to me now.
Oh, and her making them swear not to fight, that's not... It has no bearing, really. It's not gonna harm them or help them, really. They're going as envoys. They're supposed to be afforded a certain amount of safety while they're under the roof of whoever they are envoying to. But outside of that, they don't have that same protection. And sure, the show could have shown her being like indecisive, not really wanting them to go. But we've seen that so many times. My understanding now, hearing many other people that know more than I do, that remember stuff from the books more than I do. This is likely Daemon trying to use his experience and training, and I think his history with these dragons, to try to tame one of the untamed dragons. Because you can't have people flying these dragons if the dragons aren't tamed enough to take a rider. I have several dragons that are untamed. That goodness, if I could get this dragon to actually have a rider, maybe we could get somewhere. We'd have another dragon, a dragon that big and old. That's a lot of fighting power. I think there were also dragons, this may be one of them. There were dragons that had a rider at one time, and that rider died, and then they never took another rider again. This is where he lands. Right there, you didn't see the other dragon. It's not until he's getting ready to see it. Like, why did we not see it before at all, other than they weren't showing it? Was it that it was resting so it, like, you didn't even notice it?
King or queen? The House of the Dragon does not seem to know who rules it.
I mean,
Message.
Westeros has had more than one king before. Had kings and queens before.
And me of my father's oath. King Aegon at least came with an offer. Which one of my daughters will you wed?
I'm already betrothed.
He could be like, but I have a little brother.
I want you to put out your eye. It's payment for mine.
Me your eye, or I will take it, bastard! Not in my hall! The boy came as an envoy. I'll not have blood shed beneath my roof.
Instead of saying, take Prince Lucerys back to his dragon, he knew it was storming out. He knew it was problematic. He also knew that guy was freaking pissed off. And he knew that as soon as he wasn't under his roof, none of those regulations applied. He should have been like, find a place for him to stay until the weather clears up, and then take him back to his dragon. But, you know, you would think, I don't want to be accused of starting a war. Maybe I should stop this thing from happening, because if it happens, it will definitely start a war. It's too bad he couldn't just stay in that kind of position for a while longer. Like, long enough for him to just go, but... Like, arguing about the fact that they didn't have control over these dragons. These are creatures that have natural, instinctive interactions. They're also influenced, just like humans are, by things like anger, by things like the person that is with them, by their behavior and attitude, by the weather being bad, by like being in a dangerous position, by freaking this cat and mouse game that they were playing. All of that stuff is going to interact with this creature, whether it was a tamed human being or a wild, uncontrolled animal. All these things are going to influence it. And so the idea that even if it was a tamed animal that you think you usually have a lot of control over, there are going to be situations like this where you're really not going to have control. Because what's going to be controlling that creature? Their instincts, the situation they're in. Not necessarily their master. The situation. What did anybody expect of these dragons? They are in a dangerous position. They're being ridden, in one dragon's case, by somebody who is going after the other one, acting in vengeance. And in the other child, somebody who is afraid. Fight or flight tends to take over, an instinctive reaction. You already know, just starting off, that you're taking a risk. What did you think was going to happen? Your massively bigger dragon was going to, like, play peace games with him? No. Did you really think, oh, your dragon's just going to slow him down so you could get his eye from him? No. You knew that taking that big-ass dragon after him, very definitely risking him ending up dead. And whether she was really pissy about that or not, like, her kid just died, whether that looked really angry or sad or whatever, that was an act of war. There was no other choice other than war occurring. There was no way that any parent would have allowed anything like that to happen and not to decide that that is a freaking act of war. Like, sometimes the arguments that people have about stuff like this just seem so pointless and illogical. Like, there's no reason even arguing this. Like, what, you think there's some other action that Rhaenyra is supposed to take? No. Her kid was just killed, whether intentional or not, was just killed by the other side. That's an act of war. Period. There is no other action. All right, so that was the finale of House of the Dragon. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you had fun. Maybe I'll do some other thing eventually. I really haven't decided. I know I had said back at the beginning of this thing that I'd probably make some decision about whether I do a live stream or not, or whether I do some other kind of thing. But I haven't, because I've been very, very busy and I have other stuff going on. If I see any trailers or advertisements or anything like that about the coming season, I will definitely do something before the season starts. It's a pleasure seeing everyone. See you when I see ya. Bye.